Good morning and welcome in. This is Coffee, Tea, and Me, and I am Michelle. I am a pre-K teacher and I got a friggin' potty mouth. And we like to talk about all the things on here, all the things that are happening in the world, things that are happening in the weird, all those things. And learn a little bit of something, a little bit of history, a little bit of silly, all of those things. So get your cup of coffee or your cup of tea and join me for about 10-15 minutes in your morning, and let's get our day started. So this weekend was the King's Rally. And if you don't know that, are you living under a rock? Where are you at that you don't know that the biggest rally organization, the biggest group of people that were marching for something or against something happened Saturday the 18th? It was a great day. Now, those did happen all around the world. And it got me to thinking, what what really happens historically? Why are people so adamant that we have no kings? I know everyone's like, we already had King George, American Revolution, and we did all that. But throughout history, kings have gained the notoriety of being assholes. And that's why we say no kings. No kings in my country, buddy. I wanted to start talking about, I think, one of the more famous kings. There's two. Let's talk about the famous French king, Louis the 14th. Louis the 14th centralized power in the monarchy in France, which led to the construction of Versailles. Now, Versailles is mammoth comes to mind, a mammoth of a palace, as befitting the Sun King, as he was known. And that was built upon the taxes and the backs of the French people. And it was just absurd spending while people were um, being ravished by poverty and hunger. And this was not a good look. Now we all know that Marie Antoinette and the famous "Let them eat cake." At least we should know that was not what she said. She didn't say that. It's been attributed to her, but it's not historically accurate. So poor King Louis the 14th has gone down in history as one of just we'll just chalk him up to one of the assholes in history that seem to happen every so often throughout world history, not just American history, but world history. Another monarch that um, was prone to excess and threw fits if he didn't get his way was old King Henry VIII. And we all know what happened to King Henry VIII. Well, we know what happened to his wives. He threw a fit. He fancied a woman. He fancied a woman, and being of the Catholic Church persuasion, he was told by the Pope, "No, you're married. You stay married." And King Henry VIII, in true despot fashion, said, "Absolutely not. Do you know who I am? I'll just start my own church." And that's what he did. He started his own church so that he could marry a little hot to trot little hottie. Now, because he wanted a male heir, it led him to break from the Catholic Church, break from tradition. But sometimes breaking from tradition is okay for better reasons than I want that chick over there. Much better reasons than that. And because King Henry VIII was who he was, basically a big fat crybaby who just wanted his way. This led to unchecked power and persecution of his rivals. Can you imagine if a 4-year-old child was in charge and was able to persecute all of those who wronged him? Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened with King Henry VIII. So this big giant man child had a fit, wanted his own way, and then wanted to punish those who had dared to disagree with him and tried to tell him, "You're wrong. Don't do this." Because we all know how well kids react to being told no. So this led to persecution of his dissenters and ultimately um, execution of his political rivals. Because we can't have that. A king cannot have people saying, "I don't think you're wearing any clothes." His reign lasted for quite some time. And it wasn't until after his death, 20, 30 years after his death, that England was able to finally uh, get back to the order of things. But then that led to other, "No, my religion is right. No, my religion is right. No, my religion is right." That's what that led to. So Yeah, he did his countrymen and his country no favors. And that's what happens when you have someone in charge with the mentality of a preschool child and who just wants their way. But we don't know anyone like that. We don't. Now, along with Henry VIII, we've also had Ivan the Fourth of Russia, or as we better known him, Ivan the Terrible. Not the best name, although very befitting, because not only did Ivan the Terrible create a secret police to keep his people in check, they wouldn't know who was coming from where. Um, he also decided to imprison his political rivals. And Ivan the Terrible also had violent purges of nobility. He had to get rid of those people who, how dare they not agree with him? Again, history is trying to teach us something, but it seems that we are doomed to repeat it over and over and over again. Now let's move into the 20th century with a man named Ferdinand Marcos of the Philippines. Now, for those of you who are not from the 1900s, you probably might not have ever heard of Ferdinand Marcos, but I have. Him and his wife Imelda, because it was quite the scandal when they went in, the revolutionaries went in, and they found she had over 1,000 pairs of shoes, which became the symbol for the excess. Because when Ferdinand came into power, he came into power with the best of intentions. But, you know, as Lord Acton has said, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And when he came into power, he realized there is a lot of money to be made around here. And, but he wasn't greedy. No, no, no. He scooped up his family members too. And he said, come on, I'm going to take you for a ride and we're going to go make money off of all the people in this country, off of the backs of the poor. We're going to tax the hell out of them and we're going to eat the finest food and wear the finest clothes. And they did. Now, this is the trouble when someone declares martial law because it gives the declarer the right to rule by decree. Decree, which means I'm saying this and you have to do it. That sounds like, something a king would want and say and do. But that's silly. We don't have kings in America. That's nonsense. Now, Ferdinand Marcos's regime was marked by numerous human rights violations. I would just like to point out that America, the United States of America, has been put on human rights lists on other countries that, you know what, don't come here. They're doing some shady shit down there. So yeah, don't get too uppity. We're on the list. We're on the list with some really great people. Only the best. One of the last rulers, kings, I want to talk about is Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe. Now he is the most current um, despot, tyrant, political leader turned I fancy myself a king person. Now, he was celebrated for liberating Zimbabwe. Now, with all this liberation, you would think, and high ideals, surely, Robert, old Bob, that Bob was going to be one to champion for the people. The people were going to be who he was going to fight for. No, he did not. His regime turned into an authoritarian rule. What I say goes. I don't care what you want. I want what I want, as most kings do love to declare. It's all about me. Now, Bob, he didn't know anything about running a country. There was economic mismanagement, several cruel human rights violations under his regime, his reign, if you will. Now, because no one was held accountable in his government, we shall say, there was hyperinflation and mass immigration. People trying to get the hell out of there because they could see that nobody up at the top knew what the hell they were doing. They didn't know. They just knew they wanted power and money. That's all they know. And as far as they know, that's all they need to know. Now, old Bob's reign led to devastating to their economic infrastructure and to the social fabric of Zimbabwe that they are still recovering from. So I will leave you with this: absolute power corrupts absolutely. That is a quote by Lord Acton in 1887 in a letter. Still stands true today. We must not forget our history. History is screaming out from the pages for us to listen and to learn so that we don't repeat these same mistakes that ancestors, neighbors, friends from across the way back when, from these same mistakes. Now we can see the same correlations happening between then and now. Secret police, ICE, decrees, martial law, sending in National Guards, pitting state against state. That's not what a ruler does. If you want to know what a true leader does, a true leader is not out in front. In a wolf pack, the leaders are the very last wolves. The alpha male and the alpha female. They are at the end of the line. Do you know who's in the front? It's the elderly wolves, the older ones, the ones who move the slowest. They are the ones that set the pace for the rest of the pack. Now, the alphas know that they are there to protect those older wolves up in the front. That's what they're there for. They protect the pack. They aren't there for themselves to get all the meat and every the kill. No, they're there for the pack. That's what a leader does. A leader isn't standing out front saying, "Look at me, look at me. I am the leader." No, the leader is very quietly working in the back, and you never know he's there. That's a leader. Remember that when you're trying to figure out who's in charge. It's not the loudest person. The person in charge is the one who is quietly working with no expectation of celebration. You guys, join me in the mornings. I go live on TikTok in the mornings, 6:30 to 8:30 Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday. We have coffee and we talk about all things. I am not above talking about anything. Join me for that. I will be posting here in the mornings. If you want to listen to me yap while you drink your coffee, I would appreciate it. Like, comment, share. You know all the deals. Do all the deals. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Enjoy your cup of tea or cup of coffee. And I'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye.